Welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is Mike L, Kevin Jank.
I'm here, and everyone hold on to your valuables, because as we'll learn in today's comic, the biggest thief of them all is gravity.
Yes. Today we are reading the Sensational She-Hulk issue 1 from 1989, and it features the Ringmaster and his Circus of Crime.
Ooh. What a cool name.
Yeah.
For a bunch of villains that really don't matter much, but they show up a lot, so that's something.
Yeah. Before we get started, let's remind everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're up to 302 subscribers, Jank.
We broke 300. That's awesome.
So, again, the goal is 500.
Yep.
So we've got a ways to go.
We're 60% of the way there. A little bit over.
If we get to 500, Jank is going to make me read The Dark Knight every week.
Yeah, The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what a glorious month that'll be for me. And a living hell it will be for you. So subscribe.
Yes. Also, I got a book out there called Monkey Flip about a chimp detective. You'll love it. All right. The Sensational She-Hulk. Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off. You were going to say you loved the book, right, Jank? That's what you were
I did. Yeah. Big fan.
So Sensational She-Hulk. Mike L and I did a She-Hulk issue back in the day, before you were on the show, but it was from the original series, the Savage She-Hulk.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is the Sensational She-Hulk. So just to
recap,
recap,
like this is the more successful of the two. Like I feel like I hear more people talk about this version than the old one.
Yeah, just to give a quick recap of She-Hulk's history, her real name is Jennifer Walters. She was created by Stan Lee and John Buscema. And I should say Buscema. I said Buscema, whatever. You know what I meant.
Like Bruschetto.
And she is, we'll get into her. She recaps her history for us in this issue, but she's basically Bruce Banner's cousin, and through a blood transfusion, she became She-Hulk. Now, the first series, The Savage She-Hulk, came out in 1979. And do you remember why She-Hulk was created, Jank?
I believe it was something they were trying to beat somebody to the punch, right? Like some TV studio or cartoon studio was going to make a She-Hulk, and they had to create something before they could do that, before they could steal it. Yeah,
essentially, this was back in the late 70s there, and the Hulk TV show was all the rage. Everyone loved the Hulk TV show. And also around the same time, there's a show called The $6 Million Man, and some TV producers just ripped that off by making a female version, the Bionic Woman.
Yep.
So Stan Lee said, hey, we should probably create a female version of the Hulk before these crafty TV producers rip us off and take the idea. So that's what they did. They hurried up and they pushed out this book real quick, and just so they could stake claim to the idea of a female Hulk. And it's a good thing they did, because apparently years later the TV producer of the Hulk said, yeah, they had plans in the fifth season to have it was going to be Bruce Banner or David Banner on the show. His sister was going to get a blood transfusion and turn into a Hulk. So
wow.
That
was a hot idea going around, apparently.
Yeah, some new executive came in and canceled the show before they ever were able to do it. But it seemed like she was going to be like a crazy, uncontrollable Hulk more than a
really?
Ever Hulk.
Oh, they're just going to copy the same thing, same formula. Yeah. That's the worst.
The She-Hulk, she's a lawyer by trade. And her character is more fun-loving and smart and witty, and she's not a big monster oaf or anything. So,
yeah, it turns out that most people with had been infected with gamma radiation don't really go as nuts and monosyllabic as the Hulk.
That's right, the leader,
Banner,
right?
The Abomination, like he can still talk and do stuff.
Oh, all right.
But it's mostly just Bruce Banner's. He was already going to have multiple personality disorder anyway, so. The gamma radiation just made that worse.
So the original comic series lasted for 25 issues, ending in 1982. And then She-Hulk bounced around. She was with the Avengers. She was Fantastic Four after Secret Wars there when things stayed on Battle World. And she appeared in some Marvel graphic novels over the time there. But then she got the Sensational She-Hulk, this new series, and it started in 1989, and it ran for 60 issues.
Ooh.
So
At
the time, it was the longest running female lead comic in Marvel history. It has since been surpassed, but I don't know who would have surpassed it when you think about it.
I don't know who, because honestly, they just reboot everything every year now.
Say, it seems like most series last 20 issues and then they reboot it. Boom.
Yeah.
So John Byrne is the creative mind behind all this. He was the writer and artist for issues 1 through 8, and then he took a break, and then he came back for issues 31 through 46, and then issues 48 through 50. So, and of course, everyone knows John Byrne. We've talked about him countless times on the show. I think the last time was the West Coast Avengers, right, with the Great Lakes Avengers. Right.
Another book he also wrote and drew.
Yeah, that was kind of his gimmick after he left. He's most famous for his run on the X-Men with Chris Claremont and the Dark Phoenix saga and all that stuff. And then he kind of had disputes with Chris Claremont. So after that, he said, you know what, I'm just going to draw and write my books. And he did Fantastic Four. He did that. What else did he do?
Alpha Flight.
Yes, Alpha Flight. Yeah. So, all right, there you go. John Byrne. Now, like we said, She-Hulk's history, this issue talks about a lot of it, so we'll just get it then.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't really get into they dropped a little nugget and then didn't follow up on the part I found more interesting, but maybe we'll talk about it when we get there.
But the Ringmaster, the big villain in this issue, his real name is Maynard T-Bolt, and his first appearance was Incredible Hulk issue 3, 1962, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Now, do you know anything about his backstory? Because it was fascinating when I was reading this.
You know what? I don't think I know much about his actual backstory.
Yeah, I don't either. So,
his life in the circus.
he was the son of a fellow named Fritz T-Bolt, and he was the ringmaster of the T-Bolt Circus during World War II. But here's the thing about Fritz, he's a German, he's a filthy Nazi. That's what Fritz is, yeah.
Well, like what he was doing with that circus, probably.
So, yeah, the Nazis, they sent him to the United States under the guise of he's just running a friendly little circus. But the whole point was to recruit Nazi sympathizers, and they were to, assassinate U.S. military officials.
Whoa.
So, yeah. And this whole storyline played out in Captain America Comics issue 5, 1941. It takes way back then. Oh. And
was his father in there as a guy?
Yeah, Fritz T-Bolt was in there, and
everything. It's not just something they retconned later on, like, oh, this guy was there.
Yeah,
this guy
when I first started reading it, I'm like, oh, this is one of them retcon deals. But no, he actually was back in 1941. His dad. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but when the Nazis, he failed in his mission in the United States, so he was like arrested and executed, I believe. Ooh. So killed them Nazis. So, old, Maynard, the son, he eventually grew up and he took over the circus but he wanted nothing to do with this filthy Nazis, Yeah.
And, he's a good upstanding citizen who only robs people.
Yeah, he just wanted to run a good, clean circus and live an honest life as a circus guy. So he had the circus there in the United States. But here's the problem, Jake. No one likes circuses,
Even by the 60s, people were like over this shit.
So he was hitting some financial troubles there with this circus. So what's a boy to do? You turn to crime, And luckily for him, his father, he was one of them, like we said, one of them filthy Nazis. And in his goods, like Maynard inherited, all his worldly possessions. In there was some documents, some filthy Nazi documents, and one of them was for a device called what's the name of this thing now? Shoot. I know I read it somewhere. The Nulltron.
Oh, okay.
The Nulltron. It was engineered by Nazi scientists, and it was a mind control device. So old Maynard T-Bolt, he said, hey, I want to use the plans to build my own Nulltron and put it in my hat. So that's what he does. He's the ringmaster. He dresses like a fancy circus ringmaster, and he has a big hat, and he's got like a spinning disc on the hat.
Yeah.
And, it hypnotizes people.
He's all decked out like he's going to a rave. With Dr. Seuss hats and everything.
Yeah, but once that wheel starts spinning, you're in trouble. It'll just hypnotize you. And I don't know how true this is, Jank. I'm sure you've encountered him in recent years, but I was just, I was reading his Wikipedia page, and I just happened to catch a glimpse that I think at some point in the more recent years, he underwent a surgery that put the hypnotizing powers into his eyes.
Oh.
So he doesn't even need the hat.
Kind of like Mesmero.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of a hat hypnotizing people.
Yeah. I wonder if they're just like, well, the Mad Hatter already does that in Batman.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
He's got usually little hat tags that'll put in people's heads that'll control their minds, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I thought he had a spinning wheel. But, yeah.
So it's a little different, but yeah, another hat guy who's controlling people's minds was probably a little bit too similar.
And yeah, he doesn't have any superpowers or anything. He just hypnotizes people and then he just robs them usually. That's all he does.
Yeah.
And yeah, he runs the Circus of Crime.
If Yelp existed back then, I think this crime would have been very quickly.
Well, it seems like people go to this circus and he'll hypnotize them, and then his other people, Bruto the Strong Man, Princess Python, a fella just named Clown, and then the Great Gambonos are like the acrobats, and they're like the main parties here in the Circus of Crime. And he'll hypnotize the people, and then all these other members of the Circus of Crime, they go up into the stands and they just pick their pockets and rob them blind. And then when the circus is over, these people leave and they're like, oh, where'd I put my wallet? One of them deals. They don't know. But they never catch on that it was the circus that robbed them,
Yeah, I would think, though, if everyone's like, hey, we all noticed it once when we lost our wallets there.
I think he does something like post-hypnotic suggestion or something to cover their tracks,
Oh, okay.
But
sure.
Still.
Yeah,
I'd be a little eventually. Have you encountered any other Ringmaster adventures over your comic book reading years?
Oh, sure. I remember they appeared in the Hulk again, right after Peter David's run ended and the book got really terrible. I remember they popped up. And then I remember there's some weird thing they tried to do in the end of the 90s. I think it was M-Tech or something. It was supposed to be an imprint of more tech-oriented books. And there was Warlock, X-51 the Machine Man, a new Deathlock who was pretty shitty, and I think for some reason the Clown, I don't know if it was the same Clown or if it was just some new guy taking up the mantle of the Clown from the Circus of Crime, but he had his own book for a short while. And I remember it being gritty and dark. It's
sounds terrible. Thankfully, or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, Ringmaster is not the only villain in this book. There's also some other villains. The Headmen.
Right. Yeah, the Headmen.
Now, these are... would you like to explain who the Headmen are, maybe? Or do you have any idea?
I know that they have a theme in this group.
Yes.
To be in this theme, you have to have a weird head, essentially. That's right. Basically the criteria.
That's basically their whole gimmick. Everyone in the
probably
group
has
a
support
head.
group for people with weird heads, and they all met up there and were like, "Hey, you want to take over the world? Sure, why not?"
When I was doing the Flea Market Fantasy written column for Comic Book Syndicate, there I did an issue of the Defenders featuring the Headmen, and I talked about it. But yeah, their first appearance was Defenders issue 21, 1974, created by Steve Gerber and Sal Buscema, and their members are Arthur Nagin, who is a scientist who put his head on the body of a gorilla.
Oh, he's living your dream, Mike Dow.
Oh, a chimp.
That lucky.
My dream. So much a gorilla.
I mean, gorilla, you could probably shatter more hockey balls when you shoot the hockey.
And then we have Gerald Morgan, I believe is his name, and he also goes by the name Shrunken Bones. And basically, he's a scientist who, well, he shrunk his bones, including his skull. So he's got a bunch of loose skin hanging on his head and everything.
Yeah. Kind of Elephant Man-like, I guess.
Weird looking dude. Then there's Chandu the Mystic.
Oh.
Chondu, Chondu the Mystic. And his gimmick is that his head just bounces around from body to body because like they did some experiment with him. He was working in a circus actually and claiming to have mystic powers. And Negan and Morgan went in there and they tried to soup up his powers and they made him more powerful. But for some reason it necessitated them transferring his head to different bodies all the time. And like most often he's like on the body of like a winged beast of some sort.
Oh, okay. This is the guy at the very end there.
Yes. He's got like a unicorn horn. And he's like got
like devil wings, like they're red and got like chicken feet.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on.
Conglomeration of animals.
Whose body did you find to do
I
that?
have no idea. And then
reminds me of when Pete was making a game. My cousin Pete made it, who's been on the show. He made a bunch of card games, and one of them had a guy. We were making like Mega Man type villains, and one of them was just called the Zookeeper, and he was made up of different parts of different animals, and he kind of reminded me of that.
That's not bad at all, actually.
Yeah.
And then the final member of the Headmen is actually a lady, Ruby Thursday.
Yeah.
She's like a smoking hot lady, but she replaced her head with an organic computer that looks like a red bowling ball.
Yeah, like a red crystal ball type of thing, yeah.
And somehow it can like change shape and like shoot tentacles out of it and everything, and it's very crazy.
Yeah. Made a silly putty. Something.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the Headmen.
A formidable group if I've ever seen one.
If you're ranking like the worst supervillain teams of all time, Circus of Crime and the Headmen would be right near the bottom of that list. Right? Like, they'd be very.
That's why they just put them both
the
in this book. Like maybe if you put half a villain here, it'll add up to one villain. The numbers.
They're definitely unique,
Well, I mean, the question for me is the Ape Man going to be eligible for Best Monkey?
Ooh, that is a tough call. I mean, yeah, like he's mostly monkey.
Yeah, he's like probably 80% monkey.
Huh. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because he is still part man.
That's too much man.
Yeah.
You're any
you
man.
need 100% pure monkey.
So, we're going to be checking Ancestry.com just to make sure.
I think would he have a better chance of getting it if his head was that of a monkey and his body was that of a man?
Oh. That seems like the worst creature you could possibly imagine.
We'll have to take this into consideration. The Academy will have to debate this before we hand out the awards. But all right, so is there anything else we need to know about She-Hulk before we get into this? She did get her own TV show then, and Disney Plus. I tried watching it and it was terrible, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't even try. I was like, I could smell the train wreck coming on this one.
I just wanted to punch my TV. So I did
even them including Charlie Cox's Daredevil in a couple episodes didn't make me want to watch.
I never made it that far. I was so excited to see Daredevil again. Episode 1 was enough. I'm like, I'm out. Never came back. And she's had other series over the years. They always, like we were saying, start one, reboot it, do something else. But she's still a popular character. All right, so let's look at the cover there, Jank. Why don't you describe it for us?
Oh, it's a pretty great cover. It's pretty iconic, I guess. So it says Marvel, fabulous first issue up there in the corner box. $1.50 for this, I guess, somewhat more than normal sized issue. I think there's a couple extra pages. And then we get the Sensational She-Hulk. Not the best font. It's kind of just ripping off the X-Men with the little, 3-dimensional letters. But then it's just a plain pink background and just a big old shot of She-Hulk standing there holding up a comic book, the first issue of her old Savage She-Hulk book. And she's got that in her hands and she's like, okay, now this is your second chance. If you don't buy my book this time, I'm going to come to your house and rip up all your X-Men.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was terrified of this when I was a kid. No, you're not coming to ripping up my X-Men. I love my X-Men. So.
No, I'll hide them.
But yeah, she looks great here. But here's the thing. Byrne, I think he does a lot of good work here at the She-Hulk. But at this point in his career, every woman he drew had to have that little curly hair down between her eyes.
Yeah, we talked about that during the West Coast Avengers one.
Yeah.
It's very apparent.
It's very fetching. It looks cute once. But then when it's in every panel, it drives me
What
nuts.
they're doing? Do they never put it up? Do they like having this in their eyes the entire time?
It's just ridiculous. I don't know why no one talked to him about this. Like, I would say, hey, John, you can do it once an issue. Tops. That's it. Once an issue. Make it count. So it's every panel he draws a lady. So
only woman who doesn't do that is Ruby Thursday.
Yeah. A bowling ball on her head. All right, so we open it up, and this issue is called Second Chance.
Yeah.
So
very meta title there.
And we get a big splash page. We just see She-Hulk's arms, like pressing it looks like a barbell above her head, and we see this circus people in the background. And it looks like Big Bertha's back there too from
the West Coast, Great Lakes Avengers.
Yeah. But I guess it's just a normal fat lady instead of just Big Bertha. But
and John Byrne can only draw fat people in that same yellow outfit. Anything else used.
There's a bearded lady back there, a guy on stilts, a clown, a little guy. And then we turn the page and we get another big, this is a 2-page spread.
Last page.
And we see She-Hulk is sitting down cross-legged and she's pressing 2 elephants above her head.
Yeah.
Pretty good picture there.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. And there's a real skinny guy eating a hoagie. And that's all the circus freaks.
Circus must be in Pittsburgh this week.
And
hoagies, or those people selling hoagies that Larry likes.
And the guy in the background there is saying, I just never guessed how impressive you were, She-Hulk. And she says, thanks, Burrito. But this is hardly even a strain for someone who's supposed to be able to bench press 75 tons. It's keeping the rod from twisting in my hands. It's making this an interesting test of grip strength. Man, what a lady this She-Hulk is, huh?
Yeah. Holy hell.
Then we turn the page again. There we go. We get a close-up of her face where she's lowering the bar now to her chest, and we see the hair curling up between her eyes.
Separating it, yep.
Crazy. But she's hearkening back. She says, this is nothing compared to what my cousin did. Because I guess in the early days of the Hulk, he went to a circus. He was juggling now.
You said that was issue 3, right? It was very early on. Yeah.
Did you ever go back and read those early Hulks?
Yeah, I remember getting the Marvel Milestones or whatever thing. Like they had a weird printing of it in the 90s. But they had it at the library when I went. So I read the first 6 issues. They were weird. That's for sure.
Yeah, I should go back and read them. I never have.
Yeah, it was cool. Like that was when he was kind of switching at night, like he would become the Hulk.
Yes.
And still gray for a little bit, and
yeah,
there's just all kind of weird stuff going on. It was just him and Rick on the run for a lot of the times. It was interesting.
So She-Hulk lets down the bar finally, and she stands up. She's talking to that Burrito guy, and he's just saying how great she is and everything or whatever. And she's like, yeah, thanks for letting me come out here to train or whatever. I don't know what's going on. And then when she walks outside, Jack, boom.
Bam. She gets the whammy put on her.
The Ringmaster's waiting there. I like the panel there, just the spiral and crazy. Then we turn the page, and there's the Ringmaster. He hypnotized her. And
ooh.
She's standing there, arms down by her side, the hair still between her eyes. And looking very confused.
Yeah, the only time it's not in front of her eyes is when it's a really far shot of her and he's doesn't even bother putting it there. But yeah.
Every other panel, it's there. And thanks for making her cross-eyed after a while. So what's the Ringmaster doing here, Jank?
Well, he's going to make her his new, star presentation, basically. He doesn't exactly get into the details of everything yet, but he's like, yeah, you're going to be the new star attraction here.
Well, I think also some mysterious party has hired them to test and evaluate She-Hulk's strength and vulnerability.
Find out anything they can about her. So that gives her an excuse to recount her origin.
So that's really all he has to, but like you mentioned, he says, well, we're going to do something more though. We're also going to use her to help the circus.
Yeah.
And now this mysterious party is paying him $3 million to do this.
Holy hell.
That seems like an exorbitant amount of money.
That's like John Hamm type money.
He doesn't learn anything, really, that you couldn't learn just by,
everybody knows how she got her powers, I feel like.
Ask anybody. And look at, I will say this about Byrne. I like his art in this issue, but he draws Maynard T-Bolt with a very skinny head. Like when you see him from the side, it's like a little pencil head. Like there's
large ears.
No depth to his skull whatsoever. Certainly,
kind of Joker-like the way his face is so skinny.
It also looks like he's a boxer because his nose is flattened.
Yeah.
As well.
I do like his mustache though, just the thin little wisp that goes all the way down.
Like a Dr. Fu Manchu or whatever.
Yeah, kind of.
So now we cut over and we see some mysterious folks in a lab, and they're talking about She-Hulk and how nothing has gone the least beyond our parameters of our plan. Our plan, your plan. I do not approve of the employment of known felons. And that's Morgan, the Shrunken Bones guy, saying that. And then Gorilla Guy, whatever, or what's his name?
I already forgot.
Yeah, whatever.
Just a guy.
I think his name actually is Gorilla Man, his nickname. But
oh, perfect. I think you're right. Yeah. Because there was another Gorilla Man later on that was different. He actually was a gorilla, but
yeah,
they did share a name basically.
Yeah, because there was a Gorilla Man and a Gorilla Man 2. So
yeah, you always got to have a sequel.
Presumed felons, Doctor. Remember, no one has ever been able to make a charge stick against Maynard T-Bolt and his cronies in crime. And,
you think just calling it the Circus of Crime would
well, I don't think they put that out in public. But, then he says, besides, who else are we to use? Against someone as powerful as the She-Hulk, you surely would not have expected us to act on our own behalf. But, I mean, a lot cheaper than $3 million.
Yeah. Just to get some information out of her. And like, I don't know what they're expecting to get left from this. I mean,
I don't understand.
Find out exactly the limits of her strength. What are you going to do? Like, we were going to drop 50 cars on her, but it turns out she doesn't live that many, so we're going to drop 75 cars.
Yeah, she's She-Hulk. She's really strong. You know?
What more?
I don't know if you have to test it. She's really strong.
Probably use gas or something else that's not strength based.
Yeah, I really do need to figure out what their plan is. I should have looked ahead on this, but I'm very busy. But then that Shrunken Bones fella, he says, no, but then I am not sure of anything about this entire scenario, least of all how he is going to react. And Gorilla Man says, that does not particularly concern me, Doctor. But we see that Shrunken Bones is referring to a guy with chicken feet and weird legs. And as we know, that's Chondo the Mystic. Or Chondu.
I was hoping it was going to be Sauron, but no.
Nope.
Too chicken.
All right. So now we come back to the circus and we see Ringmaster. He's got She-Hulk sitting on a little stool in front of all his Circus of Crime buddies. And he's like, hey, okay, very well, She-Hulk. We were supposed to find out as much as about you as we could. Suppose you tell us all about yourself. And got the hair between her eyes again. But, all right. So we've talked about in the past, how you do exposition in a book. This is exactly how you do exposition because you have a character talking to another character and filling in the backstory. So this is actually well done, in terms of catching all the readers up. First issue of a new She-Hulk book. So John Byrne says, let's catch everyone up on her history. Let's, boom, 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 show who she is and how she got here. So this is actually well done. But, again, I don't know what they learn exactly that everyone else didn't already know. But so why don't you run through her history for us there, Jank?
Okay, well, it says, I guess my story really begins years ago in the New Mexico desert. And it looks like there's just a giant dildo there out in the desert. But no, that's a gamma bomb.
It's a gamma bomb.
And she's like, yeah, my cousin Bruce invented it. And we get the kind of recap of the Hulk's origin story. And, he was out there and Rick Jones was out there playing his harmonica, but Bruce ran out to save him and he managed to get Rick into the ditch, but he got caught in the blast himself.
Look at the car Rick Jones is driving there. It looks like something out of the 1920s.
Yeah. Yeah, I must like the old vintage cars.
They're hop into his flivver, go down to the speakeasy for some giggle juice in that car. It's a very old car, is all I'm saying.
Yep, yeah. You're not wrong. But then, Ringmaster's like, I didn't ask about your cousin. We all know that. Now tell me about you. Which is like, oh, yeah. So, years later, we get a part where Bruce Banner is going to see his cousin Jennifer Walters in Los Angeles at her law office. And, he's like, oh, hey, I'm just coming to visit, even though I'm like a wanted felon. And at some point there was a mobster that was coming after She-Hulk. He had sent some guys after her. So they're out driving, and these guys start opening fire on their car, and she takes some shots, and they go, I don't know why they don't immediately go to the hospital, but until medical help can, arrive, Bruce Banner's like, I gotta save this girl's life somehow, so he uses his own blood, gives her a transfusion. And, of course, the gamma irradiated blood turns her into the She-Hulk.
Yep. And, those mobsters, it was tied into a case she was trying, she was a lawyer and whatnot. Yeah. Also, I got a question about the Hulk's history, since you're Mr. Hulk. So when Bruce Banner saves Rick Jones, he shoves him into a ditch.
Yeah.
And somehow that ditch prevents him from being bombarded with gamma rays. Seems odd.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure does. I mean, I guess, if the gamma rays are above you, you're not in them. I don't know. Maybe it's a narrow ditch, like the light couldn't get in there.
I kind of see it as like radiation, though, like it goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Not so much like a bullet. But
it's outside the radius, I guess, so I don't know.
It's in a ditch. So
yeah. It only has enough. It's like, a 3-point shot. Like, if it's beyond that line, it can't count.
So then we cut back to the circus now, and we see She-Hulk still sitting there telling her story. She says, before you know it, somebody dubbed me the Savage She-Hulk, but even from the first, I was really having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be one of the Avengers, and for a while I was even with the Fantastic Four. It was during that time I picked up an extra dose of radiation that left me permanently big and green. Yeah, because in the early days...
was the part that I wanted to hear about. Like, that's the part where I was like, oh, this is interesting. I didn't know that she couldn't change back at this point.
Yeah, because in the early days in that 70s series that Michael and I did, she was able to turn back. Like, I don't think it was necessarily on will all the time, but it seemed like I seem to recall like she went to sleep and then boom, she wake up as human or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, so then T-Bolt just says, all right, I think we've heard enough. Have we? I don't think we have. Like, what did you learn exactly? You learned nothing.
Yeah. So. Maybe you ask her, like, hey, what are your weaknesses?
Yes. Do you like Chinese food? Do you like long walks on the beach? Anything.
Turn-ons, turn-offs, crippling fears.
So then he's got a makeup artist here at the circus called the Professor. And he says, all right, Professor, I need you to do your work on this here She-Hulk because I want to put her into the act. And 2 hours later, the Professor unveils She-Hulk. Now she's a smoking hot, like Caucasian lady with red hair. And
yep.
So she's got a white lady
skin color and
no more green. And she's wearing like this white outfit, very revealing.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Mystique-esque a little bit.
Kind of like a Greek goddess looking thing, maybe, with like chains and stuff. So, but she looks good, and the twin acrobat guys, they're like, Mamma mia, that's some spicy meatball.
Oh my god. You gotta love it.
And so they're trying to decide what they're going to do with her now in the act. And then Princess Python comes in, and she's mad.
She's not happy. She's like, my hair is going into my eyes. What's up with this?
But she's like, I'm the looker of this outfit. What's the deal with her bringing in this lady? You know? And old Maynard T-Bolt's like, calm down. We got a plan. Going to help out the circus. Don't you worry about it.
Yep.
So then they have a free showing. They invite everyone in the area to a free show because they're testing out one of their new acts. And I've got a problem with this. We'll discuss later. Let's see if you can find out my problem would be with this scenario. Because they invite everybody into the stands there, and then they say, make sure you buckle up.
Yeah. Yeah. That seems odd.
So they buckle themselves into their seats in the grandstand there. Like, how much do you think that would set them back? Seatbelts, I mean,
yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yep. Unless they like stole them from like, maybe it's a carnival that actually has, rides and stuff, and they just took them off all the rides.
But it still seems like a lot of work putting seatbelts in the grandstands.
Yeah. It turns out there's not a lot of reward to come later.
Yeah, all they're doing is stealing pocket change from these people.
They got like $3,700, they said.
The cost of the seatbelts alone would be at least $10,000 probably. So I don't know. But all right, the ringmaster says, hey, look, everybody, we got a new act. And they're like, oh, what's the act? I don't know. And then, boom, She-Hulk in her new disguise there. She's just pressing the whole grandstand above her head.
Yeah.
And what does she do, Jank?
Well, then the ringmaster uses his whammy on all the people in the audience. And, he's like, hey, you're all hypnotized. And and he's like, and now, Glamazonia, I've told you what to do.
Oh yeah, we should mention that's her name. She's not She-Hulk. She's Glamazonia now.
It's also the name you used to dance under, I believe. But she takes the whole grandstand and just turns it upside down, dropping everyone's money and wallets and everything out of their purse, like just having it spill out everywhere.
Yes, that's why they needed the seatbelts so they wouldn't fall out. Now, what are the odds everyone in that grandstand buckled their seat? No one wears seatbelts at this time when they're driving cars, let alone sitting in a grandstand. No. There had to be some stragglers there who didn't do it. And then they just fall and break their necks. Now they're dead. So
I don't know how this seatbelt works on like a bench, like bleachers, essentially. Like, it doesn't seem like a seatbelt would work too well.
It just seems like very costly, time-consuming thing to do. To put seatbelts, so... Yeah, I don't like it whatsoever. But yeah, they get out of there with $3,700, and
and some jewelry. So I mean, that's
you have someone willing to pay you allegedly $3 million to investigate you. Why are we dicking around trying to get?
Why are we still having a circus?
Yes,
just buy yourselves an island.
I would focus on the She-Hulk job. Make sure you do that. To get $3 million.
No, you've said enough. We'll talk about more of this later, maybe.
So, all right. But yeah, they're all happy because the people leaving the circus, they're like, oh, totally awesome, radical, just the best. They got to bring the boss to see this. Come back tomorrow with
wallet?
The in-laws.
I must have left it at home.
Yeah, just one guy is like, where's my wallet?
He's like the guy in Back to the Future too. Just like, I think he took that guy's wallet. He's just obsessed about it. He says it like 4 times.
And we should mention old Glamazonia here. She's smoking hot, but she looks kind of like spaced out all the time, like dope.
Yeah.
Like
she's all oatmeal
north of the eyebrows. I'm glad you picked up that saying and used it. But she's standing there talking to Maynard T-Bolt and his pals, and here a runaway wood wagon is barreling down on them.
Uh-oh.
And she just punches it and shatters it to bits.
Yep.
That's a hell of a panel there. That's a lot of work drawing all that crap.
Not as much work as putting in those seatbelts, but a lot of work.
So now, Jank, we cut back to the Headmen in their lab. And this is the other part I just don't understand. You explain what happens here and just take us through this.
Okay. So the guy with the saggy skin, he's at the computer, but the ape man is talking to him. He's like, hey, what was that? What's happening?
No, the ape man's at the computer. The guy with the saggy skin is saying what's happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I see his long arms, the dude at the computer. He's the gorilla guy. But, yeah.
Nothing of consequence, Doctor. Our subject merely had a slight altercation with one of the circus wagons. The wagon seems to have fared the worse for it. And the skin guy's all worried, and that you call nothing of consequence? Perhaps you forget the delicate nature of my work here. I do not wish to see the She-Hulk damaged in any gross or excessive manner. And the ape guy's like, perhaps you're right, Doctor. And he's like, be a good chap and hand me my disguise, would you? So he's got a little ape head he's going to put on.
He's going to go to the visit at the circus. His gorilla. But what exactly are they doing? How do they not know She-Hulk would be okay with a wooden wagon running?
Yeah. They're really underestimating her strength.
Like, these guys have no idea who She-Hulk is, apparently.
They just know they want to put something on her body, like somebody else's head on her body. But
so that's what's happening here, you think? They're going to put...
Yeah, there's like a picture at one point. They have like a big poster on the wall, I think, of her body, and it's like, oh.
Oh, I thought it was just, cheesecake. They're just making She-Hulk's body.
I'm assuming they're trying to get that bird guy's head onto her body.
Okay, this is starting to make sense now.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't you put his head on the Hulk's body instead of She-Hulk? He's going to have a
yeah, that's what he asked for. He was like, all right.
All right, fair enough. So the gorilla guy, he goes to the circus undercover. And again, what is he...
Very quickly.
Yeah, what is he supposed to be doing here? Like, why is he even going here exactly?
Yeah, very unclear. I guess to make sure that She-Hulk is not damaged.
But how would he do that? I mean, they obviously have cameras all over this place. They're watching the wagon and everything, so...
Yeah. I don't know what him peeping in the window is going to do. Yeah. They're already seeing this from their other location.
Yeah, I just don't know. This is the problem with John Byrne as a writer. He, we encountered this with that Fantastic Four issue we just did with the Nihilus, and, how he had like a good big idea, but he just has no idea how to execute it, or he'll just skip over holes in plot, like, just don't worry about it. Like, just, look over here. So.
Yeah, writing maybe not his forte.
No, it is not. So, the Circus of Crime they're debating, because old Maynard T-Bolt, the Ringmaster, he's upset. He thinks Princess Python tried to murder Glamazonia with that wood wagon. Because, again, that wood wagon would have smashed She-Hulk to bits, apparently. And everyone was very
Wooden
concerned.
sticks got Wolverine last week.
That's right.
What will, a wooden wagon do to She-Hulk?
So, but she's like, I didn't do it. Why are you blaming me? And so they're getting into a big fight. But then that Bruto, the strong man, he looks out the window and he sees a gorilla just peeking in the window. He's like, hey, one of the gorillas got out. And Ringmaster says, hey,
gorillas.
Yeah, Glamazonia, go get that gorilla. Yeah, she busts out of the room there, right through the wall to chase the gorilla. And then they go, hey, wait a minute, we don't have gorillas in this circus. What the hell? Where is this? What's there, gorilla? So, but that's a great panel, her busting through the wall there, going after the gorilla.
Yeah, and she's chucking barrels, or he's chucking barrels at her, and she kind of smacks him away.
And then he jumps and posts off her head. So then he leaps over and grabs the Ringmaster's hat.
Yeah.
And he just takes his hat and he's running away. But before he runs away with the hat, he uses it to de-hypnotize She-Hulk.
Yeah. Gives her the reverse angle.
So
the other way, like it's Australia.
She comes to her senses, and she's very upset. And she's like, "What the hell is going on here? The Ringmaster? And unless I miss my guess, the Circus of Crime." Yeah, good guess there, She-Hulk. So
you finally figured it out.
So they're trying to run away. She picks up another wood wagon. Man, this circus comes with a lot of wood wagons. And she chucks it in front of them to block their escape. They turn around, run the other way. She chucks some barrels to block them. And then she rips off some metal bars from a cage and just throws them in the air. And they all land down and pin the Circus of Crime and the Ringmaster. Yeah, because she would have impaled them dead. But she encircles them with the bars, ties them up. So she makes her own little makeshift jail there. And she says, this will hold you until I can call the cops. And she turns around. The cops are already there. Someone had already called the cops. So
I could have used another like Mamma Mia from those.
the spicy meatball.
Yeah.
And then look at the bullpen bulletins in the neest page there, which is Marvel's monthly little thing where they catch up on all the happenings in Marvel. The quote of the month. Hey, wait a minute. I just remembered the circus doesn't have any gorillas. Although they capitalized.
You knew that was a winner right there.
But, it should have been Mamma Mia. That's a spicy meatball. That should have been. All right, so now we cut over and we see She-Hulk. She's there's a lady cop there who's giving her some clothes to wear, and She-Hulk just got out of the shower. She's just in a robe. She's drying her hair. She's now back to her green skin. She washed off all the makeup, and even when her hair's wet, that hair still spirals right between her eyes there. And
the lady cop though, no, she's got a short haircut.
Yeah,
she
could use some hair down between her eyes. She gives some clothes there to She-Hulk, and she's telling She-Hulk, she says, hey, by the way, we got that this is going to be the first time we're ever going to be able to have anything stick on the Circus of Crime, so thank you. We got some real complaints here. And that professor guy copped to the attempted murder. He apparently pushed the wooden wagon at you to try and get back at you for stealing Princess Python's spot in the circus. Because he's in love with Princess Python. So, yeah, I guess that ties that up all neatly, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know.
Just like a Columbo episode.
But is it really attempted murder when it's like...
something that will not even, cause a slight injury?
Yeah. It's like someone pushing a little red wagon at you, Jank. I think you could handle it. You'd be all right,
It's attempted annoyance.
Yes. So, but She-Hulk's mad. She's like, I gotta go talk to this Ringmaster guy, see what the hell they're trying to do. So she goes down there to talk to the Ringmaster, and he says, hey, it was all about money, She-Hulk, rather a lot of money. $3 million. That is way too much money. Like, it should be like maybe 300 grand. That would still be a lot of money, but, 3 million is just ridiculous at 1989.
Find out about her origin? Yeah, that's weird.
And she's like, Test, who the heck would, test me like that? Who hired you, Ringmaster? And he has no ideas because it's all done through media, middlemen, no idea. And so She-Hulk, now this is one of the things about the She-Hulk in this version of She-Hulk with John Byrne, is it basically satirizes comic books, and she knows she's a character in a comic book.
Yeah.
So she's breaking the fourth wall. So here she says, oh, great. Some anonymous bad guy is ready to spend $3 million to find out how tough I am. And I know how these things work. It'll be at least my third issue before I find out who it is. Although you readers will probably find out on the next page. Boom. They actually find out on the same page, just on the next panel.
Yeah.
So we see Gorilla Guy comes back. He still has the Ringmaster's hat. So.
Yeah.
Probably do
that'll come in handy if you're trying to cut She-Hulk's head off somehow.
So they're talking to the Headmen are talking, and he takes off his gorilla mask and he says, She-Hulk is still of great interest to the Headmen. Take care of this, would you, Ruby? And he gives the hat to Ruby Thursday. She says, certainly, Dr. Nagin. And Shrunken Head guy says, Shrunken Bones guy says, yes, we must learn more about the subject if we are ever to bring any kind of solace to our poor old friend Chandu. And they got Chandu the Mystic in a cage.
Yeah. Although he could still stab people with his unicorn horn from in that cage, for sure.
Yeah, his body is a train wreck. It's got the chicken bird legs, the wings, and his arms are just like tentacles or worms or something.
Yeah. They're like weird PVC tubes or something.
He's got a long serpent tongue and a unicorn horn and a goat beard. So, this guy's a real looker.
I want to know more about his life. How did this happen? Does this happen every time he gets a new body? He just turns into this slowly over time? Because why would you pick this body?
Yes, I don't know how this happened.
You can find some other dead guy. Just put your body on him.
So, all right, there it is, the first issue of Sensational She-Hulk. What do you think, Jack? Oh, wait, what do they say next issue there? I missed the next issue. The Terrible Toadmen. Would we lie? I don't know the Toadmen. Are you familiar with the Toadmen?
Yeah, I think they were in like the second issue of the Hulk, like way back in the day.
Oh, so this is a gimmick that they're doing. They're going back and getting all the old guys from the Hulk.
Yep.
All right. It's pretty cool.
Getting the Hulk's hand-me-downs, I guess.
So, how do you feel about this?
The plot was kind of nonsensical. I mean, it made sense enough, but it was also was full of holes. I don't know, I understand what you're saying about her recounting her origin, and that making sense in the context, but since she didn't really add anything of use, I wish you would have done that, like, to the cop later on, like the lady cop, like they were just.
No, you can't do that later. It has to be early in the issue, it has to be early in the issue. Because you got new readers, issue 1, it has to be up there early. But, like, the whole point of not learning anything new, that matters to the Ringmaster. Like, he has to learn something new there.
Yeah. Something of use, not just,
Like, that's how you do exposition. Like, the way you don't do exposition is having the character talk to the reader and just explaining things, which we encounter a lot in these old issues.
Yes.
So he did it properly, character to character. But, so it would have been better if, like, he actually learned something valuable that would have helped the Headmen in that conversation. But he really didn't, so.
I mean, maybe that's just the Circus of Crime's whole thing, is they're just always, messing things up. So,
they're not exactly a top flight outfit, the Circus of Crime. Which again is why $3 million just seems, you could get them for probably $35.
Yeah. And just like a prepaid phone card, you could probably get them, I feel like.
So, that's a problem.
Oh, they do mention, I believe the Headmen mentioned, like, oh, hey, since the Circus of Crime went to jail, I guess we don't have to pay them that $3 million now.
That's right. They didn't do anything anyway, so you don't have to pay them, They have to at least do something, so. But Circus of Crime does have that sweet $3,700 they got. So.
Yep, they're sitting pretty for a long time. High ramen noodle.
I actually like the tone of the book. I like the feel of it. Like, it just seems like a fun book, And I like John Byrne's art here is pretty strong. Again, I don't like T-Bolt's head being all skinny. I could have done it.
You know what? I like that. I think that's on brand for that character. I think he's always kind of like that, so.
Just would like something more,
You can't just come along and change him and be like, hey, now he's cool. Now he's Brad Pitt.
So he can be weird looking, but have a normal shaped skull. He doesn't have a human skull. He could be in the Headmen with that head.
Maybe they were scouting him. Yeah.
I like the idea of the Circus of Crime and the Headmen being in a book. So there's a lot to like here. It's just I wish Byrne was even the dialogue panel, like the conversations were fine. It wasn't like dialogue itself wasn't that bad or anything. It was just like there's just holes in the plot and. Logic,
big picture.
Concerns. Yeah.
There was another good fourth wall break that I liked where the cop gave her some new clothes to wear. And she's like, well, these duds are a bit on the snug side. One deep breath and my adventures are going to be printed in the Epic line.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah. Epic was ElfQuest, right? When the elves were having their orgy. That was
Yeah.
And they pushed the boundaries with She-Hulk. I think you made a reference to this last week, but in issue 40, she's on the cover, like covering herself up with the comics code things. And then in that issue, it opens up with her jumping rope naked for several pages, but there's like blur lines covering up. So they did stuff like that.
You get to 60 issues. Yep.
So I enjoyed it. I'll probably give it a 7, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, as much as it doesn't make sense and hold together, it was a fun read. Yeah, I think it's 28 pages or so, but it went by very quickly.
She-Hulk always looks great, and she looked great as Glamazonia. So that's what you need. So again, the hair thing does get annoying as all hell, but it looks cute, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, all right, so 7's all around.
At least it's Glamazonia, they kind of gave her like the whole hair just covering an eye.
Yeah, it went away there when she's
bit of a change up. Yeah.
All right, so there it is. 7's all around for Sensational She-Hulk. Oh, I'd probably read more of this. Maybe I'll check out exactly what their plan was for She-Hulk.
Okay, I'm calling it right now. I'm betting they're trying to get that guy's head on her body.
Yeah, I think that is what they're doing. That's a good call. But I mean, how are they going to cut through her neck and throat and everything? Like that's
the hard part.
Wolverine couldn't even cut through the Hulk, you know. So, well, except when he had the cancer or whatever, when he was gray.
Yeah,
Hulk.
when he was gray. Yeah,
when he was green Hulk, he cut him. So
yeah.
All right, Jank. So, what do you got for us next week?
Well, funny enough that we brought up Epic Comics there, because I'm going to pick an Epic comic book this week. I was looking through something else, and I just happened to see an advertisement for this comic, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" I have no.
That's a good way to find books, because that happens all the time to me in like DC books. There's so many I've never heard of. So.
Yeah, it's a good tool for just finding things. So I found this Epic comic put out by Marvel's Epic line called Steel Grip Starkey.
What?
Was a 6-issue limited series from 1986. We're going to do issue number 4 of Steel Grip Starkey and the all-purpose power tool.
I have no idea what this is.
Me neither. I was like, my mind is blown right now.
And is Starkey Starky, or is there an E in there?
There's an E.
Okay.
Like Starkey.
Yeah, I mean, 86, this was my, I was 11 years old. This is my prime comic book years.
Yeah.
I should know what Steel Grip Starkey is.
Steel Grip Starkey. Yeah. I don't think this is in like any kind of Marvel continuity that I know of, but we'll just find out, I guess.
Yeah, this will be something. I'm trying to Google it up real quick to get a look at it to see what the heck it is.
Yeah, number 4, there's exciting space action, it seems like. And a guy who looks like Rick James, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I've never seen this.
Me neither.
So, all right.
This will be an exciting new adventure.
All right, then. Next week, Steel Grip Starkey, issue 4. How exciting.
Yeah. See what this is all about.
So again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We appreciate the support. And until next week, don't get any jank on you.